It's 8 o'clock in Banjul. This is QTV News coming to you live from our studios on Karaba Avenue. And I am Julden Yai. Thanks for joining us. Here are the main news headlines. Gambian pilgrims performed the tawaf that marks the end of Hajj and running between the hills of Safa and Marwa in Mecca on Friday night. And we looked at how the impact of UNDP's rural electrification expansion project on the lives of the rural people. We investigate the need for countries to have gender-sensitive social protection policies. And in international news, today, the 1st of July, is a significant day on the global calendar. It is the International Day of Cooperatives, an annual celebration of cooperative movement's contribution towards a more inclusive and sustainable world. And today, the 1st of July, we celebrate the independence of Burundi. Those were the main headlines, and now the news in detail. Good evening. If you are just tuning in, this is QTV News. Gambian pilgrims performed the tawaf that marks the end of Hajj and running between the hills of Safa and Marwa in Mecca on Friday night. This comes after a 3-day symbolic stoning of Shaitan at Mina. QTV's Babukar Sise witnessed the occasion, and this is his report.
Tawaful Ifada is part of the 5 days of Hajj and performed on the final day after pilgrims throw a total of 49 stones at the Jamaras, replicating the stoning of Shaitan, which began on Tobaski Day. After this, pilgrims would walk 7 kilometers to get to Mecca to perform Tawaful Ifada, as there is no regular transportation on the day for security reasons.
تحب العفو فاعف عنا اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا اللهم إنا نسألك العفو والعافية في الدنيا والآخرة اللهم إنا نسألك العفو
After Tawaf, pilgrims offer prayers, usually 2 rakas near Maqam Ibrahim, a glass dome covered by a golden cage which has the footprints of Prophet Ibrahim.
تحب العفو فاعف عنا اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا اللهم.
It is said that while the Kaaba was being built, Prophet Ibrahim stood on the stone to supervise the construction. By Almighty Allah's grace, the stone softened, and those imprints of the Prophet's feet were engraved on the stone. From Maqam Ibrahim, pilgrims move to the hills of Safa and Marwa. They go pacing between the 2 hills 7 times, following the footprints of Prophet Ibrahim's wife Hajara. Here, it is only men who run and women are exempted. Hajj has officially come to an end. However, there is one more tawaf to be performed. Before they leave Mecca, pilgrims will do Tawaful Wida, which is a valediction or a way of saying goodbye to the Kaaba. Once done, the pilgrim never goes back to the Kaaba. That is why Tawaful Wida is performed when the day of departure is imminent. Gambian pilgrims are due to return home starting on the 4th of July 2023. Babukar Sise, QTV News, Makkatul Mukarrama, Saudi Arabia.
May Allah forgive their sins and accept all their prayers. Now, as government accelerate efforts to increase access to electricity nationwide, we looked at the impact of UNDP's rural electrification expansion project on the lives of people in rural Gambia. Let's have more details of that in this report.
Over the years, the Gambia has made steady progress in increasing access to electricity. However, despite the increase, until recently, access to electricity had remained beyond the reach for a large portion of the Gambia's rural population. This is starting to change thanks to the UNDP's intervention through its rural electrification program, which greatly complements national efforts to address energy access and quality through the Program for Accelerated Community Development (PACT). The intervention is informed by a desire to accelerate efforts to meet SDGs, especially by ensuring sustainable development. In beneficiary communities such as Kerjarga and Nyomi Tubakolong, the impact is already being felt. Manku Jata and Fode Jata, both residents of Nyomi Tubakolong, says the UNDP's Program for Accelerated Community Development Electricity Project has greatly impacted their lives and improved their livelihoods.
Previously, the village lacked access to electricity. Because of that, people were unable to sustain themselves through business ventures. Ever since electricity became available, I brought a refrigerator to sell chilled juice. The fridge has brought a lot of improvement in my life, as I am able to sell the juice to support my family. Kids from nearby schools come over to buy the juice, and thanks to the proceeds I make, I can support my family.
We thank God the electricity expansion project has brought tremendous benefits for our community. With the availability of electricity, workshops and businesses have opened and are flourishing. As a fisherman, I am particularly relieved that we no longer have to buy ice from Bara. We can obtain our ice in the community and pursue our businesses unhindered.
For Nyasa Cham and Usman Gay, both residents of Kerjarga, one of several communities to have benefited from the UNDP-funded electricity program, the project has greatly improved their livelihoods. They also explain how it has impacted their daily lives.
We rejoice in the immense benefits brought by the electrification project. I was staying in Kombo, but electricity's arrival in our village facilitated my decision to return home, significantly reducing our living expenses. We no longer need to pay rent in the Kombos, as we can stay in our homes and operate our welding businesses right here. This cost-saving measure has allowed us to contribute more to our families and improve our financial well-being. The impact of the electricity expansion project has been truly transformative. Just being around family and being able to contribute directly is a great feeling. When the electricity reached our village, we decided to close our shops in Kombos to return home to pursue our career here. Before, we used manual sewing machines, which are slow and required much physical effort as we had to pedal them manually. But with availability of electricity, we can switch to electric machines.
Electricity coverage in the Gambia is estimated at 35% of the urban population and 6% of the rural population. And as of 2019, only 10% of villages in the North Bank region were electrified. The Program for Accelerated Community Development (PACT) is one of several interventions complementing national efforts to making access to quality energy supply a reality for all Gambians. And with it comes improved security in communities where there were increased cases of theft and provided the much needed support for locals venturing into business. Answane Sonyasi for KTV News.
Now, a well-designed social protection system should reduce poverty, ensure human dignity and inclusion. QTV's Jennifer Sanko, who is currently in Nairobi attending a social protection course supported by the World Bank, investigates the need for countries to have a gender-sensitive social protection policies.
Social protection manages and overcomes risks and vulnerabilities. Risks can be classified by gender due to inequalities. For example, women in the 24 to 34 age group are 25% more likely than men to be in poverty, and female-headed households are almost 50% more likely to be in extreme poverty than male-headed households, according to a research by UNICEF. A well-designed and gender-sensitive social protection system will include, but not limited to, unemployment insurance, maternity leave, employment protection during and post-pregnancy, and child health. We engage Richard Obiga from Kenya's Social Protection Secretariat on the subject.
I must say that issues on gender and development is very key, and we know the core for social protection is to ensure, equity, inclusion, and just to ensure that no one is left behind in matters of inclusive development. And this is why the reason would need the government of Gambia to be very deliberate and intentional on including and considering critically gender issues in social protection programming. We know that a number of times, especially for the women and girls, many a times they have been left out.
Policymakers globally have committed to closing the gaps by extending coverage and strengthening social protection floors, which is part of the 2015 Addis Ababa Declaration and the African Union's Agenda 2063. There are many international instruments that most African countries are signatories to that clearly call for gender-sensitive social protection systems, but implementation is often a challenge. Has the Gambia government and partners ever championed a gender-based social protection support? Omar Sise is the Regional Social Protection Officer in the Upper River region.
Women are the most vulnerable people in our country, although vulnerability is diverse and it can be defined in various ways, but we've seen that women are usually the most vulnerable people. And in URR, where I work, we've seen recently the Department of Social Welfare has transferred some cars to female women-led households. And this is very significant in strengthening their capacity to cope with the vulnerabilities that they face with.
Estimated 740 million women globally work in the informal sector. Now, in developing countries, an estimated 92% of women work in the informal sector. Now, this combined with the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, especially the level of sexual and gender-based violence in households at the time, is enough evidence that countries should focus on gender-sensitive social protection systems. Reporting for QTV News from Nairobi, Kenya, I am Jenna Sonko.
The report by Jennifer Sonko will take us to a short commercial break. When we return, we have some more local as well as international news stories for you. Do stay tuned.
QCell brings you the future with our ultimate bundles. Enjoy the best voice and data bundle plans in one package. Get unlimited data packages with flexible validity and enjoy what true internet feels like. Get 30 minutes of on-net and off-net calls with 5 gigabytes of data for just $350. Or get bigger bundle packages from 10 gigabytes to 20 gigabytes with over 100 on-net and off-net voice calls and enjoy the fastest internet speed in the Gambia. You can also buy 1-day, 3-day or even 7-day packages and enjoy unlimited data bundles with uncapped speeds. Just dial *343# today and experience the limitless capabilities of the QCell network. *343# should be your favorite code to dial now. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, we innovate, others follow. To make sure your company's products and services reach your potential customers, it is essential that you choose the right channel for your marketing purposes. QTV has the widest reach locally and beyond, and we can give your business the visibility it needs. Call QTV Marketing on +220 324 4444 or email us at marketing@qtv.gm and take your business to the world.
Welcome back. If you are just tuning in, this is QTV News. And now let's look at some international news stories. Today, the 1st of July, is a significant day on the global calendar. It is the International Day of Cooperatives, an annual celebration of the cooperative movement's contributions towards a more inclusive and sustainable world. This year's theme is Cooperatives for Sustainable Development. Let's have more details of that in this report.
In the Gambia, cooperatives are playing a pivotal role, and many of these local cooperatives are leading the way in social, economic and environmental sustainability. Let's begin with goal number 1 of the SDGs, no poverty. Cooperatives in the Gambia, such as the National Women Farmers Association, work by empowering local communities, particularly women. They provide members with access to resources, capacity building and shared profits, leading to increased household income and a better way of life. Recently, there have been initiatives to improve access to finance for women, especially those engaged in farming. One area where cooperative unions have really taken hold in the Gambia is in cooperative credit unions. These include the Gambia Police Force, the NAWEC, the MRC and Sophora, which is a community-based cooperative credit union. Let's go to goal 2 of the SDGs, zero hunger. We see cooperatives like the Gambia Horticultural Enterprises providing improved access to food, contributing to food security and increasing agricultural productivity. These cooperatives promote the use of sustainable agricultural practices, aligning directly with Goal 12, which is responsible consumption and production. Moving on to Goal 8 of the SDGs, decent work and economic growth. Cooperatives are at the heart of creating sustainable job opportunities. They foster a unique culture of shared ownership and democratic decision-making, which empowers their members and inspires community growth. Environmentally, cooperatives also actively contribute to Goal 13, which is climate action. For instance, the Youth Empowerment Project has fostered a new generation of environmentally friendly and conscious young entrepreneurs harnessing the cooperative business model to tackle climate change, promote renewable energy, and ensure environmental preservation. In essence, the cooperative way of working, inspired by cooperative values and principles, embodies sustainable development at its very core. It promotes social inclusion, poverty reduction, food security, and environmental sustainability. So, as we celebrate the International Day of Cooperatives, let us therefore remember the significant role cooperatives play, not just in the Gambia, but around the world. These are people-centered enterprises that genuinely put sustainable development at the heart of their operations, showing another way of doing business is not only possible, but also highly effective. For QTV News, I am Adi Darami.
Today, on the 1st of July, we celebrate the Independence Day of the heart-shaped landlocked country Burundi. Gaining its independence from Belgium in 1962, Burundi has been on a journey of self-definition, facing challenges and celebrating successes. Let's have more details of that in this report by QTV's Adi Darami.
Burundi's small size belies its agricultural prowess. Despite covering only 28,000 square kilometers, this tiny nation is the breadbasket of East Africa, cultivating a range of crops from coffee and tea to bananas and maize. In terms of natural beauty, Burundi is a gem. The country is home to the stunning Lake Tanganyika, the second largest freshwater lake in the world by volume, and also has a significant portion of the Nile River. Burundi's rich culture is another of its assets, with traditional drumming, dance and crafts celebrated both at home and abroad. Throughout its history, Burundi has had many heroes. For example, Prince Louis Rwagasore, a leading figure in the movement for independence and the country's first elected leader. He is one such figure. Despite these successes, Burundi has faced considerable challenges. It is one of the world's poorest countries with a high population density and limited infrastructure. Its socio-political landscape has also been marred by decades of ethnic tension and civil unrest. And yet, the spirit of resilience shines through. Burundi is slowly but steadily working towards sustainable development, social harmony, and lasting peace, with assistance from international organizations and peacekeeping forces. And if you visit, we're told don't miss the Kibera National Park, a majestic mountain forest teeming with wildlife, or the Rusizi National Park, known for its hippos, crocodiles and bird life. So, on this day, we honor the courage and the resilience of Burundians as they remember their journey towards independence and work towards a future full of promise and prosperity. And we say, Happy Independence Day, Burundi. For QTV News, I am Adi Darami.
Happy Independence Day to the people of Burundi there. Now before we end, let's take a recap of the main headlines. Gambian pilgrims performed the tawaf that marks the end of Hajj and running between the hills of Safa and Marwa in Mecca on Friday night. We looked at the impact of the UNDP's rural electrification expansion project on the lives of people in rural Gambia. And we investigated the need for countries to have a gender-sensitive social protection policies. And in international news, today, the 1st of July, is a significant day on the global calendar. It is the International Day of Cooperatives, an annual celebration of cooperative movement's contribution towards a more inclusive and sustainable world. And today, the 1st of July, we celebrate the independence of Burundi. That's all we have for you in this edition of the news. Do have a pleasant evening and join us on Monday at 8 p.m. for another bulletin. Many thanks indeed for the pleasure of your company, and bye-bye from me and the rest of the team.